Morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world, and thank God it's Friday. Thank you for joining us all week. This is the week ending edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Thank you for joining us. This program is where we have conversations, serious, frank, deep conversations about public issues of public importance. That's what we look into every weekday, 7 a.m. on your award-winning TV station, Western Spring Television, beaming live on channel 190 on StarTimes DTT, and also on our various social media platforms, on YouTube at Western Spring Television, NG, and on Facebook at Western Spring Television. And we are here to make sure we, end it on a high for this week. Femi Ojo is my name. You are welcome, and thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Daniel.
Absolutely. Good morning, Femi.
Well, good morning. Morning.
Yeah,
good to be here.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful Friday morning.
It is.
The Friday spirit is there. It's the start of the weekend. Like they say, thank God it's Friday.
Yeah,
It's been a long week here from Monday to today. We thank God for life. We thank God for everything. And most of all, thank God for the fact that I'm a Nigerian. I'm proudly a Nigerian. So good morning to you wherever you're viewing this from. Welcome once again to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. It's always a pleasure to know that you're there. And thank you so much once again for staying with us from Monday till today. We do not take you for granted. Here on Morning Spring, we bring you the best of news and information, starting with the newspaper reviews and, of course, the frank conversations with critical stakeholders, matters that shape our nation. And if it truly matters, you get to hear it from us right here. And we say it as it is. Speaking truth to power, holding our leaders accountable. That is what we do right here. I'm talking about Nigeria. I'm proudly Nigerian. Always, I've said it over and over again. I'm so proud to be a Nigerian, and I wouldn't exchange my Nigerian citizenship for anything else. Yes, Nigeria is the best country in the world. Yes, I said so. Now, we may have our challenges as a country, as a nation. Yes, we do have our challenges. But Nigeria is not the most corrupt nation in the world. And sometimes we need to let you know. And speaking of which, a Nigerian human rights activist, popular human rights activist, Yele Showore, I mean, they spoke, he gave a speech telling them to their faces in the UK that, see, Nigeria is not the most corrupt country. You are more corrupt than we are. I believe we have the clip. I'd like you to take a look at what is said in that conversation. Okay, when it comes up, I'll let you see exactly what transpired right there. Talking about a Nigerian defending Nigeria in the UK, and that is how it is supposed to be. Yes, we're not perfect, but we're a work in progress, like they say. And before other people start pointing fingers, they should know that they have their own issues as well. You know, when Nigerian leaders, when Nigerian leaders, when they, when they steal funds, when they embezzle funds, when they plunder our economy, where do they take the monies to? That's the question. So there are other countries who are aiding and abetting corruption. So it takes two to tango.
It does. And as for Yele Showore, human rights activist, some would say troublemaker, trouble finder, troubleshooter, highly controversial individual, and of course a publisher, journalist, of course. That is who he is, among many other things. When you hear Yele Showore, you're talking about activism, and of course you're talking about, controversy there. Yeah, and that is the toga he has won for years, even while in the school where possibly studied it activism. He will tell you, even in the 1993 struggle, he was there as a SUG leader at Unilag, and so he's not a small fry at all.
Absolutely.
You might not like him, you don't have to like him, everybody, but then there are some things that he does that maybe you should listen to him. Maybe the way his style is what you might not like, among many other things. But now, talking about that particular situation in which he spoke in defense of the nation, on a foreign soil. And if you know Yele Show, right, he doesn't care
exactly
who is there. He doesn't care
he was telling them to their faces
about your status and all of those things. there's one thing about Nigeria and Nigerians is the fact that we might have big issues with ourselves, right? But when it comes to other nations, sometimes pointing fingers at us, would rather say, hello, hold it. It's a business. We know how to handle it. Don't poke your hands in our noses at our eyes and then you try to pontificate and try to make us look like we are the worst, even when we know we have a lot of work to do. Actually, that's the truth of the matter.
Absolutely.
And, there's this proverbial folklore. Yoruba folklore that talked about the cock having the rest off on the head, and, that if fox and other dangerous animals used to run away from it because they feel it's fire because of the red stuff. And, the bigger the cock is, the bigger the stuff on the head. And until the cock told the fox and said, why are you running away? Touch it, it's just the meat. It doesn't do anything. And since then, the fox feels, oh, it's just the meat. And since then, the fox have been feasting on the cock because it's the cock that says, come on in, there's nothing dangerous here. Exactly. Don't run away. It's not a fire. So if you have to translate that, we are the ones who have always make ourselves look like we are subhuman.
Yeah, we've sold ourselves cheap.
Our leaders are the ones always going there. You can't be telling the nations of the world that you are serious and you are doing all of those things. When you want to rest, okay, that's even optional. When you need medical care, you fly there. You call it whatever name you call it.
Even resting for me. Can't you rest in Nigeria?
Well, I'm just saying, like, when you want to have your education and that of your children, you go there. We've seen people who own universities in Nigeria, yet they go for convocation for their children outside of the country.
Does it make logical sense?
How can you be the owner of an institution, yet your child, that institution is not good enough for your child? You have to go outside of the country.
It's because we don't think.
And we've seen leaders who will tell and commission world-class medical facilities, yet when they are sick, they don't stay there. These are the issues. So it's okay, even when it's not okay, for the nations of the world to look at us and feel what exactly is wrong with you. But for Yele Sowore to say, hold it, whatever you're accusing us of, you are part of it.
Absolutely.
You are the ones who, whatever the Abacha loot is, they are taking it from all over the world, from UK, from US, from Panama, from the islands, and all of those things. When our leaders steal money, they go there. When they bring this money, you don't ask them until some period in which you will say, okay, let's have something done on these. And even very highly controversial and laughable is when some of these so-called Abacha loots are being repatriated. And those nations will tell you, this is how you will spend it. Excuse you.
It's none of your business.
The thing is, it's not supposed to be their business. That money is supposed not to even come into your system in the first place. When it came, you people didn't flag it. You didn't call the Nigerian nation and say, oh, we don't understand it. And now when it's about to be repatriated,
you are giving us conditions.
It's conditions for how to spend it and on what the money should be spent on, but because now we carry ourselves like that. This Friday, let's speak a little pitchy. Exactly. Now we see ourselves finish.
That's the point. And again, Femi, apart from repatriating those funds, they should be paying interest for the time the funds spent in their country, in their coffers, the nations involved.
Now, I understand. But the point is, even some of those are Abacha loots now. Can we account for it?
That's the point.
That's the point. If you are saying, no, don't tell us, we know how to spend our money. Okay, you have the money now. What have you spent it on? Under Buhari government, we learned it was used on highways. It was used for train projects. It was used for the second Niger bridge. Who has audited all of these funds?
Exactly.
That's why some call Abacha their father in heaven, who is always sending a lot.
And guess what? The interesting part was when Abacha's late Abacha's wife, his widow, came out to say that no, people should stop saying her husband, plundered the wealth of Nigeria. That her husband actually saved a lot of money for Nigeria, and I couldn't stop laughing. It's also hilarious.
Two things for me. Number one, a wife will do what a wife would do. That's a loyal wife there, even when it doesn't resonate with the rest of the country. Meaning in death,
but recall the statement credited to their daughter at some point, saying that no matter how much you recover from us, we can never be as poor as Dangote.
Well, my first point, what I was trying to make is the fact that That's a loyal wife there. That even in death, is still defending the honor of her husband, rightly or wrongly. That's number one. Number two is the fact that, you know, whatever has happened, here we are. There are some persons that I've spoken to who believed there are many things that has been branded as Abacha loot. That there are many loots that just to save the face, it's easy to just say it's Abacha loot.
Exactly, because Abacha is no more. So
it's
just
no
put all
more.
the
So
blame
how can you say, no be me steal that one, no be me carry that one. And you know, you might want to reason along that there are many funds that when the negotiations are being done, how do we bring this in? Some I think call it Abacha loot. Everybody will know Abacha loot. So I want to think that happens or that has happened as well. But then it is where we are right now and there are new developments in the country as well, especially in the educational sector. We'll talk about that very robustly in the course of the program. If you are ready, of which you know you are, we are as well. The headlines is next. All right, we kickstart the headline segment from the Punch newspaper. Afenifere Northern leaders demand state police amid delays. The conversation is up and running again. Yesterday we talked about this when the president hosted some persons, dignitaries from, you know, Casino State, and we talked about state police and where he said, I will have to praise state police. Now, Afenifere Northern leaders, they are demanding state police amid delays. That's on the front page of the Punch newspaper. And writers that says federal government defense delay, says security reforms undergoing due process framework with state. And Afenifere, MBF, Pandev insist state policing overdue. Northern leaders press for action. Right. And below that, you have some things in Egypt, in Palestine, in Yemen, and in Iran. Talking about the Muslim faithful across the world celebrating Eid al-Maulud, the birth of Prophet Muhammad, on Thursday. It's a public holiday for that purpose in Nigeria. Yeah, this day, today, Friday. The Prophet being celebrated, you know, his birth, Prophet Muhammad. So, congratulations to the Muslim faithfuls. Now, train derailment sparks NRC reorganization, that's the Nigerian Railway Corporation, and panics as 5 bodies found along Lagos River bank. How so? Who are they? Now, moving on, CBT, WAEC mandates 250 computers, CCTV for schools. All right, possibly the pursuit of the mandate of going full CBT by 2026. CBT WAEC mandates 250 computers, CCTV for schools. And moving on, Ocean Algon challenges CBN over LG account signatories. Ocean Algon challenges CBN over LG account signatories. All right, and bottom street, federal government seeks fresh $1.75 billion World Bank loan. $1.75 billion World Bank loan. Again.
Fresh loans.
Yeah.
Interesting.
New party seeking INEC registration surged to 171. 171. And Jonathan blames betrayal for 2015 election laws. 2015 election laws blamed on betrayal by former President Goodluck Bailey Jonathan. So much to unravel there. Who are the betrayers? What really happened?
Yeah.
Is that escapist kind of narrative, or maybe 10 years after?
Yeah. You know,
one would say, is he still licking his wound?
No, actually, Femi, it's not just about licking wounds. We talked about it here on this program. Yeah, on one of those days when I talked about Jonathan, the possibility of having Jonathan come back to run for 2027, Jonathan was betrayed in 2015. Yeah, because a lot of people came out. And that's one thing. Some people say it's politics, and I quite disagree with people. When you just see, you just try to excuse yourself and say, since we are politicians, this is politics, we can say one thing today and do another thing tomorrow. No, it shows men who are weak, men who lack character. If you say something to them, you are changing it tomorrow, and that's your character, and you are excusing it, trying to make us excuse you just because you're a politician. It doesn't make any sense. So for Jonathan, in 2015, a lot of people came out. I mean, they were behind him, claimed to be behind him, but at the end of the day, they were actually working against him. He was betrayed. One of them, a governor in Southwest, even came out to say that it was just politics now, that actually they knew Jonathan didn't do anything wrong, but it was just politics. Yes, he came out to say so. So betrayal is what it is. Wow. It should not be excused in the guise of playing politics. When a man is weak, when a man lacks conviction, when a man stands for nothing, it is what it is. Don't tell us you're a politician, that's why you're betraying people. So I really feel, sometimes I feel pity for Jonathan.
Well, Jonathan, as far as the murky waters of Nigerian politics is concerned, it has to be prepared for. It's part of it. Even when it doesn't have to be, that's politics for you. You know, people around here, they say that you can see my hands, but you might not see my heart. That's just it's a song, actually, old one. It's just what it is. And I think maybe, as for Jonathan, if he believes that it's about betrayal, if it's coming in again, he should prepare for that. That's what politicians do.
Yeah.
He will have learned from that. So nobody should be blamed for that. That will be all from the Punch newspaper.
And from the Punch newspaper, we move straight to the front page of the Daily Times newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Times, FG to commence payments of debts owed local contractors. Federal government to commence payments of debts owed local contractors. And that's coming from Deputy Speaker. You can read of that story on page 9. It's quite unfortunate. A lot of concerned Nigerians have been talking about it. Even the presidential candidate for Labour Party in 2023, Mr. Peter Obi, he said one of the major reasons why a lot of businesses have collapsed is simply because of debts owed by governments. It's not very easy to do business with the government in Nigeria because you render services, you offer services, and at the end of the day, to get your money out becomes a huge problem. And a lot of businesses have actually collapsed because of that. Quite unfortunate. Now the Deputy Speaker is saying the federal government will commence the payment of debt owed to local contractors, and it should be done. Government should be responsible. You know, not that because you're a governor or you're a local government chairman, I mean, you award contracts, people do their job, and you don't pay them simply because they can't do anything. And when the next government comes, the contractors go to them and they will tell you, we're the ones who assigned the job to you. So it doesn't really make any sense. Government should be a continuum. So local contractors should be paid, and that's a good move right there. Away from that, still on the front page of the Daily Times newspaper this morning, I witnessed a lot of betrayals during 2015 elections. Jonathan, I witnessed a lot of betrayals during 2015 elections coming from former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Away from that, boats mishap. Labour Party demands robust legislation, stricter regulation of waterways. Boats mishap. Labour Party demands robust legislation, stricter regulation of waterways. You'll find a story on page 5. Nigeria seeks economic diplomacy agenda to empower women, youth. Nigeria seeks economic diplomacy agenda to empower women, youth. You'll find a story on page 11. Troops arrest over 62 terrorists in 42 towns, villages in August. That's coming from Defense Headquarters. Troops arrest over 62 terrorists in 42 towns, villages in August, coming from Defense Headquarters. You can find a story on page 6. Away from that, FRSC police strengthen synergy for safer roads in Lagos, Ogun. Federal Road Safety Corps police strengthen synergy for safer roads in Lagos, Ogun. You find a story on page 11. And on the red strip, we have UNICEF confirms receipts of 300 million naira, pledge of 1 billion naira from Bauchi government for CNF. You might want to read up that story on page 2. And that'll be all from the front page of the Daily Times newspaper this morning.
All right, from the Daily Times, let's see what the Daily Trust, one daily to another daily, as for us. And this is very concerning and disturbing as well. From the front page of the Daily Trust, boldly reading, screaming headline, as federal government issues fresh flood alert, Taraba communities submerged. That is one screaming headline there. Taraba communities are submerged, and we've heard that over and over. I'm talking about fresh flood alert. 19 states, 20 states, running the risk of being affected. And so what would they do? So when the federal government comes out through NIMET or any of these agencies with these report and flood alert and warnings, we hear that. But what we don't hear is state government coming out to say, this is what we are going to do about it. I'm not sure since the start of the year for anybody, maybe in Lagos, to say, okay, this is what we are going to do.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing.
And that is, sometimes it comes after maybe a particular place have been flooded and coming out with responses and all of those things. And I think states should be more responsible in coming out to say, this is what we are going to do. And it should be loud. It should be said, communicated in languages that people know, and not just warning, just like we are saying repeatedly at different times.
Exactly.
This is what we are going to do for you. Live here, come here. You don't have anything to lose. In the next 2-3 months, you are clear. You can go back, or whatever is remaining of your ancestral lands or your whatever, we are going to take care of it for you. And I think people will believe more and they'll be more sensitive to that. But what we've been hearing is flood alert. Flood alert. So what is Osun doing about that? What is Lagos? What is Taraba? What are all the south states doing about that? Because the screaming headlines from Taraba, maybe from the Daily Trust, says Taraba communities submerged.
And actually, one of the biggest questions on my mind is, there are ministries saddled with the responsibility in every state.
Oh, yes.
With the responsibility of taking care of this. Oh, yes. Looking into this. What do they do? Most times, exactly. They get these alerts from NIMET, and they just, sometimes I just wonder, perhaps they just sit down and say, okay, let's see what will happen.
Or they wish it away. You know, in Nigeria, we wish things and say, God forbid.
God forbid.
I say, no. It won't happen here. It has not happened in the past 5 years, so it won't happen. And when Mother Nature beams heavily, and then everybody's scampering.
Well, I have an advice here. I have a very simple advice, very simple one for such ministries who don't do anything when they get flood alerts and wait for the floods to come. Perhaps you should just, in your ministry, just create a canoe construction, department. Just construct canoes for the people so that when the flood finally comes, you'll say, okay, just have this canoe. Since you wouldn't do your jobs anyway.
Well, that's a thing, sarcastic at best, but the thing is, no matter how many canoes they do, there are some things that when it comes, even flying boats cannot handle it, actually. So the best thing they can do is to have evacuated people from that place. In the case of hurricane and tsunamis and tornadoes, that God has been so gracious to Africa,
exactly.
that we don't even have that. If that has been our lot, some countries will never exist again because the leaders are not that responsible to care about you. The latest is what has happened in Afghanistan. They are still battling, with more than 1,000 casualties recorded, bodies recovered. And here we are, that what we are supposed to do, we have science. That's the reason why God has given us brains to think, to reason. And so agencies are churning out flood alerts. So what happens? Just like you said, they are waiting to it won't happen. Here, it won't happen. During COVID, there was a governor who said the name of his state is in the Bible. So COVID will not. At the end of the day, even the governor, COVID catcher, that was the governor of the southeastern state, who said, no, the name of that state is found somewhere in the Bible. So COVID cannot attack only for God.
I know that's it, exactly. I actually saw, I had to go check for myself, and I saw the name in the Bible. I was like, whoa, really?
Only for the governor to even catch it, COVID catcher.
And some people got, Femi, during that COVID, some people got philosophical. Like a governor in the south, yes, well, I'm trying to remember the state. Is it Akwa Ibom? I mean, we started, using big grammar, saying, no, COVID cannot. So there was no lockdown. And he was quite fortunate, quite lucky. COVID
if it's about big grammar, during COVID, that's 2020, that would be governor of Cross River State.
Exactly.
Professor Benayad. A cataclysm. All right. Exactly. But this is a serious situation. When communities are submerged, you just know their lives will never remain the same again. Everything can be gotten back if you are lucky, but not life.
Absolutely.
Be responsible and take our leaders responsible, just like we do on this program. And again, police invite El-Rufai ADC leaders over alleged criminal conspiracy. Police invite El-Rufai ADC leaders over alleged criminal conspiracy. Right, maybe they have what they want to tell the security agencies, and I hope this is done in good conscience and not just because it's politics.
Not politicizing it.
Now, tax law, Nigerians to pay additional 45 naira per liter petrol, and that's one thing that Nigerians are confused. Some are saying, oh, is there 5% fee on petrol from January 2026? Some are saying it's a lie. And I think this is where the Ministry of Information should come in.
Absolutely.
The National Orientation
Agency.
At the moment you mention that agency, someone will tell you, on to the next one, please. But so that to tell people.
But they are being funded. That's their job.
Yeah. But then, NOA, I'm not saying they have not been scrapped. They have not been scrapped. They are still there. But, can you really see their footprints?
Exactly.
And what they are doing, apart from just occasional churning out.
They are not doing enough. They are not doing enough. Yeah, I recall.
As if they are doing anything.
Yes, because I recall just not too long ago, I was running a radio show, and some people told me that, see, you're actually doing the job of NOA. Are they paying you for this? I said, no.
It's just your corporate social responsibility. Tax law, Nigerians to pay additional 45 naira per liter petrol. And I know this conversation has been on for some time, especially in the public space. That is where people in charge should come, engage people, do what is it called now? Space meeting on social media. Let people know this is the true position. And if it is right, confirm that it is right, and this is the form it will take, and this is the benefit, this is the gray area. So that, what we do in Nigeria is for something to be out, and then people run with all kind of narratives, and the government will now come after the end of the day to be chasing this story and just to be this is from opposition. No, you have taken. Why not dictate?
Exactly. Be straightforward.
Come out. Dictate what
forthright.
People are supposed to know. Control the narrative and say this is what we mean. Here we are. So that people will not just run with all kind of narratives, and maybe most of the times rumors and false half-truths and what do you call it, misinformation. And now you come at the end of the day.
You can't really blame anyone for it. You can't blame the people
because you are not available.
Yeah, exactly. You can't blame the people for it. And sometimes, for me, perhaps they try to, some policies, they try to smuggle in some policies and just watch. I mean, just sit back and say, exactly. See how the people will react. That's the point. That's the point. Feel the pulse of the people and know whether they should go ahead or not.
I'm sure they already know the pulse of many Nigerians. It's not on even the average side. It's on the higher side, so nobody should really test anybody for wherever they are not too, bold to really come out with. Couples death, how we operate, surviving out. Couples death, how we operate, surviving out. You should look at the front page of this paper or pick up a copy for you to know what has been said. And Sultan seeks end to insecurity. Sultan seeks end to insecurity. Top strip, ex-soldiers resume protest over unpaid entitlement. Ex-soldiers resume protest over unpaid entitlement. These are the people that you don't want the wrong people to talk to. I've always said, when you see people that are experienced, people that have handled weapons before, people that have gone to battlegrounds, and now they have retired, and they are still protesting over unpaid entitlements. You don't want the wrong people to talk to these people because they know too much to be, to work for the wrong people. If they feel the nation, is not really taking care of them. And Tinubu departs for Europe on 10-day vacation. Now, from yesterday when we heard that, it's been about, is he working for a vacation? Is it a vacation?
The guy is cruising, yeah, he's cruising. No, this time they're not saying it's a working visit, it's a vacation. So they're coming out straight.
Vacation.
Exactly. He just wants to, yeah.
Is what?
Yeah, it's a vacation. Yeah, I said vacation.
Vacation.
Exactly. I said vacation. Different sometimes.
Someone said, now poor man, they go vacation. Rich man go vacation. All right. How I was betrayed, Jonathan. All right, we said that earlier, and I'm sure that will be in the public space for conversation for, some time. And take a quick break right now.
Yeah, Femi. Just before we go on that break, I recall I promised them a clip of human rights activists, telling people in UK to their faces that, hey, you're more corrupt than we are. Let's fix our own problem. I think you should take a look at that video. Yeah.
For the sake of disclosure, the United States of America has one of the most corrupt streets in the world. It's called Wall Street. So when you're talking about corruption, Nigeria is not the most corrupt country in the world. Actually, I would think it's the United States. And of course, you guys in England, where all of our money has been pouring since the days of slavery up until now. Monies that are stolen from our part of the world are passed through Western banks, particularly in the UK, US, and Switzerland. Monies that are stolen from poor people from Nigeria, everywhere in the world, passes through these secret bank accounts. And it's unfair to continue to say that we are the most corrupt. But we have a duty to challenge our leaders and challenge the primitive accumulation of wealth that's been the situation in Nigeria.
There you have it, Mr. Yele Shore, human rights activist, telling them to their faces that you are more corrupt than we are. So stop telling us that Nigeria is the most corrupt country. How do you mean? Come on, Femi, what do you think?
Well, I said it enough to say, that's somebody standing right here.
Exactly.
I'm sure for Yele Shore is not to say, leave us with our corruption. The idea is to let them know you are equally as corrupt as this same country you're always pointing at as, being corrupt, to say, because the proceeds of those loot comes to your land, these foreign bank accounts, and you people don't do nothing. So sometimes after 10 years, after that kind of money will have been circulated.
Yeah, they've done business with it. I mean,
and so, but for me, it comes with its own responsibility and concern to know that we have a lot of work to do. Now, we can tell the other nations to shush it. Don't musling God and don't paint us like we are the worst. We might not be the worst, but then, we should speak to ourselves as well and know that we are not the best as well. There is a reason why this is happening. If nobody is stealing from here, it can't get there.
Exactly.
It's because you are.
Yeah, that's why I said we have a responsibility too. Exactly.
To behave well, and until we show the willingness. If not, we keep, talking like a broken record now. Willingness to make crime unattractive. I mean, especially fraud, financial fraud, corruption, unattractive. Put structures in place so that whoever wants to steal, you will know that with all these things we have, you are still stealing, not making it accessible, open, porous, making it even glorified. Because all you need to steal, all you need to do in Nigeria, sadly, is to steal a lot of money.
And even those countries,
so that you can have the best of lawyers, and you stall the wheel of progress that after 12 years, like a senator that we know, the court can tell you, go and restart the case for 12 years.
So quite unfortunate. And again, those countries, Western countries, they have a responsibility. Why not flag these monies when they're bringing it? Why? You see someone bringing in billions of dollars, and you just accept with open arms. You accept. So they have a role to play.
But that would be the second tier of responsibility. The first tier is that's why we have anti-corruption agencies here.
Absolutely.
Why we're not gloating, that is the issue of the former Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu. Well, whatever has happened with his daughter and the way they try to go around it, and what happened in UK, and the sentencing and all of those things, do you think, in fact, there's no need to ask, if that happened in Nigeria, you think anything will happen?
No, absolutely nothing.
Nothing will happen. So we hold ourselves at that duty first. before you can tell your neighbor to choose it, make sure you are behaving well. That's when you can say, oh, other people, no, don't rubbish us in that way. That's the second tier, but it's good for Yellow Show. Respond somebody to just speak for Nigerians and say, okay, and that's what we say around here. I don't know why I'm feeling proverbial at this point. They will say, even a bad pick can get your own day.
Absolutely.
You understand? All right. You take a quick break. When we return, speak to a critical aspect of any nation's, sphere. That's talking about education. We'll look into that today. There are new developments, and we will see how these will better the lot of the future of the nation. Stay with us.